In Europe, a peace summit is being organized, a summit to end the war in Ukraine. And who's hosting it? Switzerland. Now, this summit was first proposed by President Zelensky. He asked Switzerland to plan it, and since then, we've heard a lot about it. The potential, the participation, the proposals, everything except a date. Well, now we have it. We have a date. Switzerland says the summit will be held over 2 days, June 15th and 16th. And who will attend? The guest list has not been finalized yet, but more than 100 countries have been invited. Reports say it's a high-level engagement, meaning heads of state have been invited to attend, your prime ministers and presidents. A Swiss newspaper claims Joe Biden will be attending, but the White House has not confirmed it yet. Interestingly, the G7 summit is also around the same time. Italy is hosting the G7 leaders between June 13th and 15th. So chances are Biden will already be in Europe. India, too, has been invited by Switzerland. In February, the Swiss foreign minister travelled to India. In March, Zelensky spoke to Prime Minister Modi, and then Ukraine's foreign minister visited New Delhi. All of this had the same goal, to get India on board. Prime Minister Modi could be in Europe around this time. Since 2019, he's been invited to every single G7 summit. But the question is, will India attend this summit, the one in Switzerland? We haven't heard anything from the government yet, but chances are New Delhi will be wary, especially because Russia may not attend. That's right. Switzerland says they want Russia there, but Vladimir Putin is calling this summit a circus.
The
idea of holding some kind of conference in Switzerland is being pushed. We are not invited there. Moreover, they believe that we have nothing to do there. But at the same time, they say that without us, it is impossible to decide anything. And since we are not going there, this is already a complete circus.
Two questions. A, why isn't Russia attending? And B, what's the point then? What's the point of this meeting? Moscow says Switzerland is not neutral anymore. The Swiss have already sanctioned Russia. Plus, they're coordinating closely with Zelensky. This whole summit is based on his proposals. And what are those? What are those proposals? There are 10 points in total, but these are the important ones. Russia must withdraw its soldiers. Russia must give up the annexed land. And Russian leaders, must be dragged to court. These are all non-starters for Moscow. So Moscow is pushing its own plan. An aborted peace deal from 2022, Putin has said that Russia and Ukraine were close to a deal that year in 2022. Again, the proposal has a lot of points, but these are the important ones. Ukraine will not join NATO. Ukraine will reduce the size of its military, and eastern Ukraine will get more autonomy. Now, in public, Zelensky has rejected all of this, which brings us to the second question. What is the point of this summit then? Well, diplomacy must always be given a chance. That's what they say. So no summit can be declared pointless completely. Also, Switzerland is aware of the challenge ahead. They're not expecting a peace deal in June. They believe another summit will be needed to achieve that.
This is the first step in the process for lasting peace in Ukraine. We are not going to sign the peace plan at this conference. There will be, we think, a second conference, but we want to start the process with this conference.
Do not underestimate Switzerland. They specialize in such negotiations. We've seen that across many conflicts in Syria, in Colombia, in Palestine, in Iran, and in Azerbaijan. So they have a history of getting stuff done, but the Swiss alone cannot succeed. They need both sides to make concessions, which is why more than 100 countries have been invited. More countries equals more pressure. And some of these countries are Russian partners, like India and China. The hope is that these countries can force Putin to make some concessions, to dilute some of his demands. Of course, that works both ways. You can expect a very strong Western contingent at this summit. They will need to counsel Zelensky to make him climb down from some of his demands. If not, it doesn't matter how many summits you organize, the result will be the same.